So, shape tools are incredibly versatile, and in After Effects, they're really a pretty great way to build very simple character shapes. However, we might want to build them using some slightly different tools besides just simple rectangles and squares. That way, we can give ourselves the most opportunities for manipulation and animation going forward. So let's jump right in and I'll explain what I mean as we go through it. Let's create a new composition and I will just kind of use default settings. I'll hit OK. And I'll leave my background as black because that always reminds me if I'm going to make something for production, leaving the background as black reminds me that I got to make a new solid to actually show a background when we go to Media Encoder. So some of my examples I've left put in a few colors in the background, some I haven't. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new solid. I'm going to lock that so that way it stays put, and that way when we render it, we'll see this background versus it just being a black background. So when I'm doing tech demos, I'll usually use the comp settings, but when I'm doing a production, I'll put out a background for it. So at any rate, let's move on. So creating characters using shapes, if you use just simple shapes, just know that they can't be manipulated as specifically. So if you need just like a simple circle, fine, use the circle tool. It's a great way to make it reliably. But if you want to manipulate the mask path or the shape path, say to make more of a rounded or bent shape or something more tube-like, you might want to use the pen tool. So let's just go ahead and fashion out a simple kind of, we'll maybe do like a bit of a pear-shaped character here. And to our benefit, symmetry isn't always best. So I'm going to get this guy looking pretty good, but if it's not perfect, that's not really that big of a deal. In fact, this little kind of almost like shaped like a comma is actually pretty good for us to kind of create a little bit of a asymmetrical vibe to this guy. Then I want to center his pivot point because right now it's off to the side, so I can grab the pan behind tool, double click on that. Come here, shape layer, pan behind, double click. There's my anchor point in the middle. And if I really wanted to, I could fine tune, a few of these points. They aren't exactly the smoothest in the world, so, but that might serve as the base of our character shape. Let's get this guy bumped up. And I want to actually face the character the other direction. So I'm going to go up to the old scale modifier. And on my X and Y, I'm just going to do a negative 100. That way he's kind of the illusion of facing that way. That looks good. I'll lock that back up. And then this point right here is just bothering me. I know it's a nitpick, but it's just, this guy is just killing me right here. So let's go ahead and smooth that out. A little bit rounder. Let's kind of gut that guy out a little bit. And yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so let's name this body and let's keep building. So continuing, this might be a case where I'm going to just do some eyes. This is where the ellipse tool might come into play. I'm going to change the fill. Let's go to kind of a dark gray, and we are going to just kind of draw out eye number 1 and double click, get that centered. And then if I come in here, now I add a little bit of sheen to this guy. Let's go ahead and change the fill. Oops, not on you. So this is a case where if I want to create a shine in this, and I don't want the shine ever to move, I could create another ellipse in the contents. So let's go ahead and with this selected, I'm going to create another layer. And I don't need to make it over the eye. I can kind of move it over here to a little bit later. But I've got ellipse 2. I can go down to the fill, and the color I can make white. And then I can move this guy Just using this tool and just kind of plop that one over that eye there. And then the last thing I might do in this kind of eye, we'll call this eye left, is we might put just a little bit of a shadow underneath this guy. So we can do that with yet another ellipse. Let's just kind of drag, maybe something like that, and get it into place. I think something like that would be good. And then the fill is going to be the body, yet slightly darker. Something like that. And then I can grab that shadow, that's ellipse 3, just drag it down to the bottom of the ellipse stack. So now we have a shadow down there. Now once it's already built, then I can kind of adjust for the actual shape accuracy. So if we want it to be, as wide as this one, and I haven't really given a whole lot of thought to exactly how I would have this guy show up, but something like that looks pretty good, just so that eye is kind of knocked back in space a little bit. So this is eye left, and since these are kind of all in a way kind of grouped, if I duplicate this guy, Control D, then I have eye right. Now keep in mind we don't want them completely symmetrical, so drooping them down, popping them up just a little bit. Sometimes you even hang them off the body. There's a couple of designs, cartoon styles, where they hang the eyes off the body. A little bit erratic, but whatever. So now we have eye left and eye right. Let me zoom this guy back down, and we're getting our character looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and make a bit of a happy smiley. So I'm going to take this here. I'm going to just kind of fashion out a bit of a mouth shape, and so we can warp this guy. Let's get in there and kind of, and I was planning on doing a solid shape here, but this kind of feel just kind of popped out as I was kind of designing, so let's kind of have that follow this is the mouth. And again, we could have this kind of like, whether it's up high or down low, it's like a completely different character if it's way down here versus if it's way up here, right? Big chin versus no chin. I'm going to leave this right here. And I haven't really decided. I don't think we're going to add teeth, just to kind of keep it simple, but I'll let that guy roll right there. And now we just need some limbs. So I'm going to use the pen tool. And to make his limbs, we're just going to do a couple of simple lines. But watch what I do to actually make them. We're going to get these into rough position. And then we are going to click fill, remove fill. We're going to click stroke, and we're going to add a stroke. And I'm just going to grab, base color. And let's go ahead and duplicate that leg layer. And we can go ahead and Control or Command D. And let's go ahead and move that guy to the right and up a little bit, just so it kind of sits in space a little bit. I'm going to leave leg 2 behind the body, and I'm actually going to change its stroke color so that it is the kind of the shadow of our guy there, right? So we're building this out. We're using kind of some similar color palettes, and this guy's coming along pretty decently well. Maybe that back leg color is a little too sharp for my taste, but now we've got this guy going. I'll do this again with some arms, so your decision if you want the arms to curve down like that. Arm left. Or if you want the arms to curve up like this. Oops, wanted that on a new layer. let's get this one behind the body. So it's kind of up to you on how you want to position these. Just kind of think about where they're placed. And this guy, I want to be the same stroke color as the body. And I haven't really modified my stroke width all that much, but they're a little too thin for my taste. So let's jump up to 18 pixels, not 818, 18 is fine. Still might be a little bit. Let's go 22. Looking good. This guy, 22. Looking good. Kind of want this lower. I don't really like how it's jutting out from his mouth, but so maybe we need to shrink this dude a little bit. There you go. And these 15, they don't have to be as thick as the arms. It's kind of a a choice that you can make, but we're getting there. All right, and let me this arm left, contents, shape 1, shape 2. Not sure what shape 2 is. I don't think we need that. Let's get rid of it. Shape 1, stroke 1, and then instead of butt cap, we want round cap. That way we have kind of these noodle arms. So we'll go into each one of these and make that correction. And we probably could have done this before we did any copy and paste, but shape 1, stroke 1, we want, instead of butt cap, we want round cap. And the feet, if you wanted to, you could leave them kind of butt capped like that, but I think round is, the rest of the character is pretty round. So leg, contents, shape, stroke, and round cap. Hey, you. Shape 1, round cap, stroke 1. I got 2 shapes in here. Let's see. Yeah, it's getting round. Looked like it was flat for just a second. And let's finish up on that last leg. Close that one. Leg 2, contents, shape, stroke, butt cap to round cap, and then we have the kind of the basics of our character there. Now, to really help sell the appeal of this character, we have some kind of funny silhouette. We've got kind of the aesthetic value of the noodle arms, but maybe this character needs a bit of a detail to help it stand out from the others. So I'm going to create one more kind of combo shape. So I'm going to start with rounded rectangle tool, and I'm just going to create on a new layer. Let's go ahead and do that. Stroke, no stroke, okay, fill. And we are just going to give this guy a nice bright bow on top of his head. And then we'll mess with the angle of it a little bit. So I'll use pen tool. This is shape layer 2. And I'll just yoink, 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 and yoink, yoink. Kind of think about this one's going to get knocked back in space. So if we really wanted perspective and overlap, like you might see discussed in some of these different descriptions, this shape layer 2 would actually be a little bit complicated. We probably want this particular part of the bow to go behind the head. That way it looks like it's being kind of cut there. So let's see if we can do that. Let's take shape 2. We're going to just hit Command X or Control X and cut that. I'm going to deselect. I'm just going to hit V. Actually, let's create a layer, new, shape layer. And that's an empty one. It's going to be behind the leg, and I'm just going to hit V. So what it did is we can't just paste the shape layer kind of into anything or anywhere. We have to actually have a shape layer to paste into. So if you're trying to paste that, I'll call it a shape object. You can't just paste it normally. So at any rate, now that we've got that, we have a pretty kind of charming character indeed. I'd probably fine tune these shapes if I were to take this one further into production. So I would come into these various objects and just kind of fine tune the bow here, make sure it had some good form. Maybe we'd add more shadow and that sort of thing. But for the most part, we have a simple shape-based character that we could animate and do some fun things with. We'd want to name these layers, so don't leave anything as shape layer 3. That should be, bow ribbon right. Don't leave anything as shape layer 2. So we'd want to like clean these up before we finish. So bow right. Oops, little typo there. And this one is bow main, perhaps. And we could even parent bow right to bow main. That way, if they needed to bounce, they could bounce together. So why don't we do bow right to bow main? And then if we needed to move bow main up, see how it moves up and down in front of and behind the head? Quite nice. So that's a nice little adjustment there. Little shadows like we have under the eye, getting those under the arms would be nice, even under the whole body. And if we wanted to, we could even use a shape layer now that I'm thinking about it. Little ellipse, little fill, color of the background, a little bit darker. Hit OK. Nice little shadow under this guy. Way down below under bow right, but above the background. And then all of a sudden we have a shadow under the whole character, and a shadow that we could, mess with transparency, of course, too. But let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to transparency 50. Yeah, now that's pretty good. Now his leg is kind of getting lost against that shadow, so this might be a case where both of those legs get this kind of yellow arm treatment, and only that one's dark. So we can fine tune some colors, some shadows, but for the most part, the basics of our shape character are complete.